Hi everybody, I'm Joe Abbott of Roadrunner Engineering in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and what we're going to do in the next series of videos is show the assembly of a high-performance flathead Ford for the street. We'll tag along as Gary McGlasson of McGlasson Racing Engines does the assembly. There's many ways, of course, to build an engine, many choices with respect to parts, fits, in order of assembly, but I think you'll find that just following along with Gary for this specific application will be informative and entertaining. Anyway, let's get started.
Okay, this morning we're pleased to have Gary McGlasson of McGlasson Racing Engines in Albuquerque go through the assembly of Ford Flathead here that will eventually be a supercharged unit. As Gary's pointed out before, 95% of the hard work has been done, but we'll do a little short review of that. And we'll start with the block here. And the block was originally, of course, dipped both with a caustic and an acid to remove the rust and to clean things up. All the holes were tapped. Pointer. all the holes were tapped, and then in the front here we cleaned out all the oil galleys, and we always make sure here that the oil galley plug is in place. The oil galley, of course, runs right up the center, is the major artery for the flathead. This one will not use the stock fuel pump, so it is plugged the pushrod hole. And then this one here has had the drive gear for the cam has already been installed and the cover in place. This is a Canadian block, which we can identify by the letter C in front of the numbers on the back of the block. It's an 8BA block, meaning it's 8BA type block, 49 to 53. Another unique feature of the Canadian block is it has an additional oil hole, which could be used for priming or for a full flow oil system, along with the two holes that are normally found on the Ford unit. This engine has been ported and relieved, and we can take a look in here, look down the port, and then we see the other end of that on this side here. And Gary, show them where the short side radius is. That's that little area there. And then on the other side here we see that this engine has been relieved, which is a term generally reserved for flatheads, where the material's been cut away from between the block and between the cylinder bore and the valves. The pistons have all been individually fitted, and the cylinders bored and honed with the right finish. And see, then we'll move on here to the rest of the parts that go into the block. Here we have a rod and piston assembly. Gary will demonstrate how the piston assembly is put together. These are forged H-beam rods, part of a scat stroker kit. These are Rost forged pistons, along with what we call a millimeter ring pack. These are thin rings, low tension, with a moly coated compression ring. There's the cam ready for assembly here with the timing gear installed. This is an Iskanderian Max 1 cam. These are the main caps, and this engine will use a heavy-duty center main cap, and the block has to be properly prepared for that, and the bearings so that they're aligned, bored, and then honed to get proper alignment. Here we have a scat crank shaft assembly, 4 1/8 stroke, and it already has the front timing gear installed, along with the oil slinger. The valves already as mini assemblies here with the spring, the guide, the valve, and the keepers and the locks in place. Here we have a set of adjustable tappets ready to go in place. They've been rough adjusted to begin with, so to minimize the amount of time taken adjusted in the block. The valves, these are Manley Street Flows modified for the job. Iskanderian 185G valve springs, and here are the valve guides in place, and they've been prepared. The exhaust guide is not modified. The intake guide is, there's my lovely assistant here, cut at roughly a 45-degree angle so that the lower edge of this is at the bottom of the floor of the valve, the intake passage. Then we go over here, front timing cover. This is going to use a cast iron single bearing front timing cover. It has the gasket and the seal in place ready for assembly. This customer will use cast iron Mercury EAC heads, which have been modified, appropriately opened up over the valves and around the backside of the valve such that it matches the gasket here. And these gaskets, these are the copper type, a best gasket, although the steel graphite gasket also works well. This is an oil pump from a 49 to 51 Mercury. It's a Melling standard flow oil pump with the Mercury pickup. Our favorite flathead pan with the seals installed. Why this is our favorite pan is because it fits many applications, and it has a built-in windage tray, which helps minimize pumping losses and aeration of the oil. And now we're ready to go into the assembly process.